Derek again one more time is on the phone now. I believe Derek Matyszak is the senior research consultant in the Institute for Security Studies, joining us to discuss what's unfolding in Zimbabwe at this hour. Good afternoon, Derek. Are you with me now?
Yes, good afternoon.
Hello, Derek. Thank you for your time on the SABC News Desk. Well, street protests erupting this hour between opposition protesters in Harare and riot police. How worried should we be, Derek?
I don't think these protests will have any particular traction or be extended for any length of time. What we're seeing here is a crisis of expectations. In order to win elections, the political party has to make it look like they've got the momentum. So the opposition did a very good job of that, creating expectations, particularly within Harare, that they were going to win the elections. And now that the results are coming out, people simply don't believe them because they felt that the opposition was immensely popular, because that was the atmosphere that the opposition had managed to create in the capital city.
Derek, SADC, the African Union and COMESA earlier this morning actually calling this election, endorsing the polls and calling Zimbabwe's elections a political watershed in the history of the country. What do you make of that?
It certainly is a political watershed. Unfortunately, both SADC and the African Union have a very bad track record as far as their observation reports are concerned. Many of their past observation reports have been simply a statement of political solidarity with the ruling ZANU-PF party. So, unfortunately, they've now done themselves a disservice because the credibility of their latest report is in question because of their historical track record.
Derek, Harare and Bulawayo, of course, are under MDC control, and ZANU-PF tried to make out that under MDC management or control, these cities were neglected, and they tried to make inroads into urban dwellers. How successful do you think this was in terms of making this a signature issue as part of their campaign?
Well, it was a very cynical campaign by ZANU-PF, because although the councillors for the Harare City Council and the Bulawayo City Council are democratically elected, those councils are in fact controlled by executive officials who are appointed by the ZANU-PF central government, and they really are responsible for the management of the council. So the poor service delivery that the residents experience should really be placed at the door of ZANU-PF. They very cleverly said, look, these councillors are elected by the opposition parties, and therefore the opposition parties are to blame for the service delivery and the infrastructure decay that we see in the capital city and the second city of Bulawayo. And they've managed that very effectively.
Derek, the EU Observer Group is raising concerns about the independence of the Electoral Commission. What do you make of the pre-electoral environment we saw play out in Zimbabwe before these elections, in terms of security, in terms of transparency, in terms of accountability?
Yes, the elections were free in the sense that the ability to campaign was there, the political parties were able to hold their rallies, and that basic democratic space had opened up. The electoral playing field was heavily tilted in favor of ZANU-PF because of the blatant bias of the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, which is there for anybody who's been paying attention. They operated in an opaque manner without the necessary transparency, and given the track record of ZEC, which has been very partisan in past elections, there was a heavy onus on them to be that much more transparent and that much more open, so that confidence could be regained in the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. They failed dismally in that.
Derek, I know you're telling me that we shouldn't worry that these protests will gain any traction, But the visuals we have coming out of Harare this hour are very distressing. We're seeing military trucks and armored trucks roll into the city this hour, and scuffles between riot police and protesters, gunshots fired, rubber bullets fired, little fires being made in the road. It's all very worrying, the images, the picture we get out of Harare. And I know we've had long queues, we've had voter enthusiasm, we've had commitment by polling center and the staff there as observed. But do you think this is going to be matched by a commitment to honoring the choice of the Zimbabwean electorate? Because what we're seeing coming out of Harare now does not look like we're moving in that direction. We've just lost those visuals, though.
Yes, I think the process will die down after a couple of days. Life will go on as normal in Zimbabwe, and the election results will be accepted, if not respected.
Well, that was Derek Matyszak, our analyst, joining us from the Institute of Security Studies, on the line there with us. We may cross back to him in our later bulletins as we keep track of that developing story in Harare this hour, where riot police are clashing with opposition protesters in the capital city 2 days after Zimbabweans went to the polls for general election.